the nightmare abyss of the piney woods of East Texas. The Random Horror Show. The best in commentary and reviews in horror, sci-fi, fantasy, cult classics, and the obscure from film, television shows, and literature. Join our horror hostess, Keisha Lacey, as she is scary, but random, horrific, but funny. Last but not least, she will chill you to the bone.
Hey there, everybody. This is Keisha Lacey with the Random Horror Show, and I have a special treat for you. A really amazing guest with horror, and I'm talking about horror that will snatch your edges off of your scalp or whatever you prefer, a perm, locks, or anything else, not even a straightening comb. I'm here with Matt Mitchie, the author of White Scratch, and his newest book that's coming out is 2 Minutes with My Biological Dad, the Devil.
That's the long version of the title, but yeah.
Matt, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, Keisha. Happy to be on the show.
Well, thank you. And I'm happy for you to be a part of the Random Horror Show. So tell us about yourself.
Oh boy, hit me with the hard stuff early. No, I'm 43. I live in New Braunfels, Texas. I've got a great wife and a 9-year-old little girl. Um, and she's boisterous. And after this interview, you'll probably realize where it comes from. Uh, I own a really small business. I'm a sole proprietor, so the smallest business you can get. It's just me. That's how
Woohoo!
I pay most of the bills, and then writing is my passion and hobby. And um, that's what I guess things that I enjoy are writing and being away from the family, and also being with the family. So if that makes any sense, family and lots of friends around, and just getting older, each day. That's being here, I guess, is becoming the new goal. But yeah, happy to be on. Happy to be on.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Of course, like you as a fellow Texan, we got to represent Texas. Texas,
All right. I'm
you
gonna I'm
know.
gonna crank up the draw here in a minute, real good. So
All right. We could get into like our Texas twang and our drawl and everything
yeah,
like that. And so like you're a small business owner.
yeah.
Totally feel you on that. I have a small business myself and I'm just sitting there contemplating like I want to close it out. But
Oh yeah.
I actually have two businesses and I just run them just the way how I run
Oh, yeah,
them.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and that's I won't get into the details of the business, but I'm a sole proprietor. I haven't hired anybody because right now it's just me. I have total control over everything, and I kind of like it that way. Could I make more money? Absolutely,
Of
but
course.
uh, but yeah, I'm pretty comfortable where I'm at right now. Uh, Time is more valuable than anything for me, and peace of mind. And right now, I'm sitting pretty good in those aspects. But
Awesome, awesome. I feel you on that right there. It's just something about working by yourself. It just you have total control of everything and
yeah,
you don't have to talk shit to somebody, if they're not doing a job right, training stuff. But then again, you cool where you at. Sole proprietor is pretty cool for a business. And I do support small businesses also because I have a small business. So
yep.
like pew here, pimp pimp. So so anyway, what inspired you to start writing, especially these novellas that you have written? Um, I just came across like your Instagram and I was like, the white, let me like read up on this. And so when I was reading it, I was like, oh my goodness, this is not only funny, but it was just crazy beyond crazy, hair raising. You have like this mother law from hell You got a like a pussy whoop son. You got this. I mean, it was just like just the sheer bonkerness of like this whole story that's happening in this freak blizzard storm of one day. Like what inspired you to write, and also what made you came up with this story and the other ones?
So writing in general, I've always been a fairly creative person. I'm one of those people, like if I'm not creating something, I kind of get down and out on myself. I don't want to use the word depression,
Hmm.
because it's not that serious, but I'm just not myself unless I'm able to make something. And honestly, I started writing screenplays. I'm a big P.T. Anderson fan, so I love
Hmm.
his movies like Boogie Nights, Magnolia, Punch Drunk Love, to name a few. And I wrote a couple of scripts that this was before I think I even had an email address. So the scripts are gone. Like there's no bringing those back. But they were more dark comedies, I guess.
Hmm.
I think one was about a guy got pulled over drinking and had to go to attend AA meetings, and the people in the AA meetings end up like ruining his life. It's just this weird cast of characters.
Holy
Um,
crap!
but it was a comedy. But when I first wrote my first novel, which is long gone, it's a train wreck, by the way. I had
Hmm.
really gotten into Chuck Palahniuk, um, so that kind of inspired me to take the novel approach. And then I got into Bret Easton Ellis quite a bit, and I decided I liked writing, and I liked their particular styles. I was young, but didn't really have a voice of my own, but wanted to somewhat emulate those guys somehow or another. Of course, I did a terrible job, as with anything when you're inexperienced and don't really know your strengths. But yeah, movies and books got me into writing. And with that particular novella, The White, I really didn't think about where the inspiration came until later. And I put a little prologue in the beginning of the book, and I mentioned to you earlier that my wife was diagnosed with leukemia, and not a sad story. She's cancer free right now and doing great. So we're grateful for that. But thank you. Um, and we had lived through that snowmageddon here in Texas. We're not used to the snow, and we got snowed in for over a week. Snow and ice. Power was out. Water was out. Keisha,
Ooh.
you weren't that lucky, but yeah, we had no water and power outages about every 30 to 40 minutes. It would go out for 30 minutes or so. So that was a pretty big inconvenience. And at that point, I said, I don't ever want to see snow again. Screw you, Colorado, Lake Tahoe, wherever. F you, I'll stick down here. Um, but yeah, I wrote that book, and then when I was writing the prologue, it kind of came to me that Margot, the mother who you absolutely adore, she was kind of like a cancer, right? Like she kind of shows up unannounced,
Hmm.
and throws everybody for a whirlwind, and lives are kind of turned upside down. And she comes right ahead of that the storm that is in a lot of ways kind of running parallel with her. Like that storm is kind of ruining everything, also with the ice and snow in a place that doesn't typically get that. Um, but yeah, it's hard to say what's your inspiration for that story, because your mind kind of. I'm a writer that I sit down with maybe the first line and maybe a character or two in the first scene, and I don't know where the book's going to go from there. So,
Hmm.
people are like, "What inspired you?" I'm like, "Well, I can think about what had happened to me recently, or media that I consumed." Um, but your mind kind of, and I hate that cliche term, but you're kind of a vessel for the story a lot of times, and you're kind of just writing it and watching where it goes as it comes from you. Um,
Hmm.
and honestly, that's when I, you know, talk about like outlining and all that stuff. When it's unplanned, that typically ends up being the best and the most exciting writing. But yeah, the cancer Armageddon, um, I now realize had a big impact on that novella. So there was some inspiration there.
it it was a lot of inspiration, particularly the whole freak snowstorm that's happened in the novella in November.
Mhm.
It's like how how Texas weather is. It's like one, like maybe like in the morning it's all foggy and raining,
Oh
and
boy.
then maybe like in noon it's like hot as balls, and
Yep.
then later on, like around 5 o'clock, we got like damn thunderstorms and like
Yep.
tornadoes. And then maybe like an hour
Hopefully.
later, it's all nice and sunny.
And then a 30 degree temperature drop out of nowhere. Like, what the heck just happened? All right,
I
I'll take
know. So
it.
like, I mean, I tell everybody like how like our weather is like on this podcast, and it's exactly how it's just like borderline like schizophrenic and everything else, and I'm just like sitting there just thinking, I'm like, yo, I need to get a summer home somewhere like in Oregon or like, Washington State or something.
Yeah,
But
beat that heat.
Margot, she is absolutely my favorite character, even though she is not a very well liked person. It
Yeah.
was something about Margot that just reminds me of the old white ladies that I grew up around and stuff, and just the way how they act. And I'm just like, why they acting like that? But it's something about like how that older generation, you think like,
Yep.
oh man, they're crappy, they're so hard up and they're so mean. But then when you get to know them, you're like, ah, okay, I see how you are. And I think that was the one thing that drew me to Margot, especially with the daughter-in-law and her interaction, because it was like literally just giving me life, and I just couldn't stop laughing at how Margot just jabs and just takes these jabs at
Oh
her
yeah.
because she knew that the daughter-in-law was not. I'm just gonna say she wasn't shit, and she just wasn't made of like that good stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
And then you have the granddaughter. She's a little bit out there, not really too out there, just normal, typical teenager
Yep.
stuff.
Yep.
And there was like some things that Margot said, and I was like, okay, Margot. But then again, I got to thinking, I said, you know what? I'm around older people that are like that.
Hmm.
And though she was in the wrong for saying it, but she really loved her granddaughter because she's seen a lot of herself in her granddaughter. So, like, how did you, not only just Margot, but how did you get the other characters, from Margot's son to like the wife and the daughter? And then I'm just gonna like ask you like this question right here. I'm very curious. Did Margot really cheat on her husband?
Yeah.
Because I was
Uh,
like, damn.
spoiler alert. Yeah. So yeah, and how did I come up with them? I don't know. They just kind of came to me and grew as I kept writing. But yeah, I'm big on believability. I'm big on dialogue that people
Mhm.
can actually say that is how a conversation goes.
Right.
Not everything is a paragraph long, straight sentence without interruptions or mess ups. So I always try to keep the dialogue very believable and think about, okay, what would this character actually say? Like I'm not worried about grammar or any of that. But what would this person say in this particular moment? What would they do? How would they act? If they're going to shrug their shoulders or roll their eyes or whatnot. And I think it's a very short book, but I
Mhm.
think I think the dialogue, like people have said, like I could see these characters. Like I was in those conversations, and it just helped develop those characters so much in a short period of time. Um, as far as spoiler alert, yeah, she did cheat on her husband. Um, so there's a lot of skeletons in the closet with that family. It's just a very dysfunctional family. You have Margot, who thinks she knows best and who is doing what she feels is right,
Mhm.
but her actions, she's just a terrible person and she's wrong on a lot of things. And then you have the son who always tries to do the right thing, and he's more compassionate, kind of the opposite of Margot. Yet he lets people down,
Mhm.
and then you have the daughter-in-law who is probably by all means a great woman.
Mhm.
Um, but she's just not up to par with what Margot expected. But then again, neither is her son.
Right.
Um, and then yeah, the her granddaughter, Margot's granddaughter, yeah, just a typical teenager, kind of trying to find her way in personality and trying to be different and is into punk rock and but a sweet kid, just doing her thing. Um, but yeah, that book was a lot of fun to write, and it was really really short. That was probably the biggest complaint I got, is that it was so short. But I'll take that. I'll take that 7 days of the week and twice on Sunday. If they're like, yeah, the worst part about it is it was so short. I'm like, okay,
I
I'll
liked it because it was short,
get through it. Yeah,
and I liked the realistic dialogue between all of the characters, because you can see them. You can see them like in like on a daily basis, or somebody like that. That was like
yeah,
the realness for me, that got me sucked into it. I read that. I mean, yes, it's short, but my brain just gobbled every word, every character, in it, and it just stuck, with me. And I mean, if everybody's complaining about how short it is, wah, wah, wah.
well,
But
not
I like
everybody,
it
but
because,
that's a pretty common complaint. But not everybody. No, I mean
but
that.
but I like it that it was short. I
Sure.
felt that, like, how the way how it ended, of being like short, such a short novella. It was just to the point, short and sweet. It was, how would I put it? It was like a snack, but it was a big, humongous snack. But it was
Oh,
like, it's not like it's kind of like dinner, but then you added a little bit more, and it's just this just pile of, like, you got steak and like French fries, and then you got ice cream and stuff, and you just gorge all on it. But then you just like, it's not a snack, but it's like a dinner, but it's something. But that's just like how I just really just ate the whole book up, is because of the tone, the realistic dialogue, the realisticness of like the characters that you can see in real life. Uh, you know, we recognize like so many things, like from people's attitudes, their emotions. I have a different opinion about, like, the son and the daughter-in-law, but it's just something about Margot. I don't know, it's just that toughness, like you can
hmm.
see, like, on Mommy Dearest,
She got
Faye
grit.
Dunaway. She does. She
Yeah.
got a lot of grit, and that's what I admired about Margot, is she does have grit. Yes, she is wrong a lot of times. Her her tone and the way how she comes off is really, like, just out of this world, and you're just like, what is wrong with you, old lady? But but
Get your ass
but
out there in the snow, old lady.
I know, right? But you see later on, in the ending of the novella, of something that Margot is actually dealing with herself, and you feel so much compassion, even though she is like the Wicked Witch,
Yep.
the way how she acted and everything. But to me, she was like that unsung, like, hero in this book, or heroine, because it was very unexpected, and that I was like, damn, that's really unexpected. But then I
And
see like the
yep.
pattern of the way why, even though she came unannounced during a freak blizzard, and all of this like family drama was going on, and then you got, this snow, which I'm kind of feeling like a little bit of like some alienish stuff going on right there, a little science sci-fi with it. And I was like,
Maybe.
yeah, this is like it's a perfect recipe for disaster, but I loved it.
Yeah, and that in the ending, I'm a guy. I kind of like to build the suspense and then really hit hard. At least that's my goal, and I think I pulled it off with that one. But yeah, I mean, could it have ended any other way? Really? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
she kind of ends up as the hero, despite being so damn wrong about everything. You know what I mean? But she just got such strong conviction and grit, and she doesn't falter from that. Again, a lot of that is leaning toward being wrong, but when when you speak to people and they have such conviction, and you're like, you know what, I believe what they're saying. I don't agree with them, but I damn well believe what they're saying. That's that person. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
don't like them, but if they tell me something, yeah, I'm probably going to believe that they really truly believe that. But yeah, and I want to get into the book, but then I'm like, I don't want to give any spoilers either. And with that one being so short, people came to me and they said, you should write a sequel to that particular book. But to me, the suspense comes it leads up to the actual reveal of what's in the snow. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
it's kind of that unknown, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh fuck, like shit just hit the fan, and now it's a bloody mess everywhere. It's like you, and they were like, yeah, maybe other families and stuff. You could do different points of view, and I'm like, yeah, but then it loses its the strength of the story because it's all kind of like I didn't even put anything in the synopsis to really give anything away.
Mhm.
Because and that's short of a book to me, and even like trigger warnings. Also, to me, I'm
Mhm.
like those are spoilers.
Mhm.
So if you mention any of these things, it really takes away from the impact of the book and the impact of the dialogue with these characters. And yes, there's going to be things you don't agree with, and that's okay, right? Um, but yeah, it's a fun. It was a fun book to write, and I did not know where that book was going to go about midway in, and then I finally said, I know how it's going to end. It's like that light bulb went off.
Mhm.
And I was like, damn, is it going to be good? And then you're excited like a reader as you're writing it. It's you're experiencing it for the first time as a reader does. So it's pretty neat process.
Well, it snatched everything out of my like took the winds out of my sails, snatched all my like baby hairs and edges off. I mean, because you really did this like with a chef's kiss, 10 toes down. I really do. I love. I'm a big reader, but you really did knocked it out of the park with the white.
Oh, I
Now we're gonna
appreciate it.
go. Oh, no problem. But we're gonna go on into like scratched and scratch. Oh my god. Oh,
Little bit different, right? Little different.
way different. Way different. This is like a 180 from the white. I, I
Yeah.
was just like, what? I was like,
See,
oh, this. I know it's this. I was like, oh shit. I know this is gonna be good.
See, I
Tell us
like
about.
that. I want people to think when they start reading one of my books, like depending on what they read before, I want them to think like I have no idea what this book's going to do, and it's not shock value or anything,
Mhm.
but it's just the style and the of the characters and stuff. But but yeah, I know the white was your favorite, but yeah, Scratched is a that was a fun that's a fun book too. But yeah, completely different feel than the white.
It was definitely fun and particularly that you put this certain mythical creature in scratched and I was like, what? I was
Uh-huh.
like, dang, and it's in the setting it's just so different because you have I could tell like when I was reading it of like how here in reality, especially like around the Austin area,
Oh yeah.
Dallas, I mean even here of like how people are like moving in from
Oh
different
yeah.
cities and states and it changes like the whole environment like of like a small because this is based in a small
Yep.
town but you
Yep.
have like all of these like socialites these celebrities sounds like dried up celebrities and they're moving into this small town so like literally the town's history is being somewhat erased or gentrified
Mhm.
to
Yep,
fit
yep,
the
yep.
needs for like these very rich hoity-toity wealthy
Uh,
people they're getting their soy lattes their tofu all this health stuff and everything. I mean I was a vegan and everything but I gave that up. I was like I need my steak but your dry martinis and this type of like top shelf crap and everything else like that. Um,
yep,
I like how you just like threw that in because we actually see that particularly if living in a small town and you start seeing all these changes and you're getting all upset if you're a townie that we're all these it's like cool you bringing in the money and stuff but then you're raising up the value of the land the
yep.
real estate
Taxes.
everything else and it's like you're wrecking the whole ecosystem.
Small restaurants closing down for these fancy ones,
Hmm.
cocktail bars and stuff. But yeah, if you go to Austin, um, pretty much any street in downtown Austin is pretty much what Main Street is in Brawlton, the town I made up of in a Scratched.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, these people, is kind of cheesy as it is. It's very realistic, and these characters are very real. Like, like there are people like this, a lot of them in these places. Um, but yeah, it actually started as a short story
Mhm.
years ago, and I kind of sat on it and kind of revisited it here and there. And then one day again, at kind of that, I'm sitting there and I go, "Ha, I got it. Like, I know what I'm going to do with this book, and I'm going to turn it into a novella."
Mhm.
And I add a little backstory for the main character, Janelle, and um, kind of give people an idea about her. But yeah, these rich Hollywood socialites come in and take over this little hidden gem of a small town, and absolutely destroy it. But it's like, the way I looked at it, it's like they ran off most of the locals,
Mhm.
but the one thing they didn't run off is the creature, right? The creature's still there, kind of in the
Mhm.
background. Um, and then I kind of played with it, and spoiler alert, it's a chupacabra. I say it all the time, but
Chupacabra!
the book, to me, I call it the Real Housewives of OC meet the chupacabra. It's you know kind of how I would describe the book. Um, but yeah, I changed up the legend a little bit, and said
Mhm.
that he was, besides goats and drinking their blood, he liked lonely women. So, you
Yeah,
know,
that
I can have
yeah.
fun with that, because they're all alone. All these women in this book are lonely. Um, if you look at them on the outside, they've got everything, but
Right.
it's all superficial. And I don't know, you always think of, I've heard that saying, like, compare yourself to yourself. Don't compare yourself to anybody else when you're thinking about growth and stuff. And it's true, because that person driving the Porsche and living in the skyrise might have shit for life, all kinds of stuff going on in the background that you don't know about. And these women in Scratched are full of dirt, all of them. Um, but
Oh
now,
yeah.
you know, I released the white, and then Scratched, and of course you've just got these horrible female antagonists. So, looking at it, people are like, "Golly," but I got a lot of praise too, saying you really know how to write the women, and I was like, "Well, I take that as a huge compliment, because I'm not a woman, so, like, but I love psychology and all that kind of stuff." But I took that as a huge compliment. But the newest one that came out, and we'll get into it. No crazy mean women in that one.
Mhm.
So those are more in Scratched and the white.
No crazy mean women. But that's a really huge compliment right there, is
Oh,
that you
really?
do know how to write about women, which shocked the shit out of me. Um Especially was it Janelle? Because I was calling her
Yeah.
Janine all through the damn thing.
I think it was
Um
Janelle. Yeah, Janelle is the
J-
main character, and then you got
yeah,
Hillary
Janelle.
and Gabriella.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, Gabriella. Oh my gosh, Hillary. Ah! But Janelle, I was just like, damn. I was feeling her, because that's the only character that I actually felt like a connection to, because her husband,
Mhm.
doing all his little clapping somebody's cheeks, and
Yep, yep, yep.
the way how she was at home, and how lonely she felt, and I was like, damn, I felt like that in my first marriage. I mean, I was like,
Yeah.
that's the reason why I'm divorced. But I was just like, I felt that 100% in my soul. So I mean, I could relate to her very much. And then with the chupacabra just running around, just sucking, drinking, and killing lonely women. And I was like, I don't want the fucking chupacabra to come. I'm like, I'm single. I don't want this sucker to come like give me. I'm gonna like give me some hobbies, and I'm gonna look like I'm happy. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't want that bastard. I said, I got a 22 waiting for his ass. But but I did. It has that Real Housewives feel for it, because I used to watch the Real Housewives when it first
Uh,
came out, And so Atlanta, New Jersey,
Oh
New
boy.
York, I mean, Beverly Hills. I mean, they're like such fun shows to like watch. And yeah, they get
Or they
pretty
see they my
predictable.
wife used to watch those, and, like, I would
Mhm.
watch, like, 5 minutes of it, and then I would be so stressed out because it's always so much tension and backstabbing on those shows. My wife even stopped watching them because she's like,
Yeah.
"This just stresses me out." And I'm like, "Yeah, I think that's the whole show, the idea, like, these women are just crazy and going after each other." But, yeah, you don't want that in your own life. Why would you watch it on TV, you know?
Oh no, oh no. And but then like how when like the whole franchise like changed a lot of like social culture, especially with
Oh, for sure.
women,
Yep.
because now they're trying to like feel like a real housewife, but they don't know the whole dirt, the backstory on a lot of
Nope.
them. They had like tax fraud, one
Oh,
of them
yeah.
went to jail.
Yep.
There was like Teresa Judice, what happened to her husband. It was just so messy. And so when I
Yeah.
started seeing women doing that, I was just like, yo, like, you don't know these women's lives. This is just television. I
Yeah,
was
it's
like, a lot
TV
of
show.
this stuff is scripted as it is
Yep,
anyways. I was like, they
yep,
have to have a storyline to keep it rolling
yep.
for them to like be, on air. You had like Kim Zolciak, her like husband, that one she married, their house is in foreclosure, and it's just a whole bunch of mess. And you're right, like I had to stop watching them because they were tiring. And it was fun to watch them, but it gets tiring. The bickering, and I'm just like, I
Mhm.
see why I don't hang around with a lot of women, like, for real, because I'm kind of like a loner.
Yeah,
But it's like stuff like that. I'm just like, this is too much. This is chaotic, you know. Even just going to high school and junior high, where it's just way worse, that mean girl energy.
oh,
And I'm like,
man, yeah,
I'm dipping the fudge out of here. And I mean, I was a tomboy, so I hung out with a lot of guys and stuff. But
sure.
when I was around, junior high, high school, it's just like, oh Jesus Christ, there's women that act like they're still in junior high and high school, and they're moms, and they have children and husbands,
On the
throwing
PTA.
drinks. Yeah, I know, throwing drinks and jacking up tables, and all kinds of stuff. I know I'm talking about Teresa Judas. That was a good episode when she grabbed the table and she started doing that and
Oh,
everything. I was
man.
like, that was hilarious. But when I started seeing that change in a lot of women, I was like, yo, that is not even the business. But you did write them out very well, and some inspiration from the Real Housewives, and I don't blame you. That shit does give you a headache in 5 minutes because it is stressful.
Yeah, after I wrote The White and then I released Scratched, I thought to myself, like, I really need to reevaluate the
Hmm.
females, you know? But no,
That.
all the women in my life are fantastic. My wife and our group of friends are all, I mean, the most generous, caring, awesome people, far from what I wrote. But yeah, with Janelle, the main character in Scratch, you can sense that it's all kind of fake to her. It's like she's just
Hmm.
going through the motions. Um, but she wants something more. Like she wants to feel like like just like a person. Like you know what I mean. And growing up in showbiz and everything, she almost felt like cattle. I guess you
Hmm.
could say. Just put here, and the cameras are flashing, and you're in limos and out of limos, and it's just a nonstop thing. And then eventually you're like, who am I? Um,
Right.
but yeah, that was definitely a fun book um, to write, and it's a little bit longer than The White, so I'm making progress there.
Yeah, and you know what? I like it that you got the blood. I got you got, and I'm gonna give you like 100 on this right here. You're so good with the damn gore. Oh my God, you're so good. Especially one character, the super powerful guy. I'm like, oh my God, are you shitting me? That part like really just blew me away. In the beginning, and you you were, and I was like, okay. something's going to happen to this character. Even though
Oh
she was not really like, she was kind of like a side character, but she came like a main focal point like during this situation. And
yeah,
I was like panting and screaming, and I'm breaking out in a sweat for this person. And I was like, no, 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 and I was just like, man, this is like really good because you just did the shift with this one character, from like the previous things that happened to her at work. And then to this, and I was just like, are you serious? I was like, but I like that. I really did. I'm not giving any spoilers, but I really like that. But the board
yeah.
was really good.
She certainly had a bad day, that particular character, and I think we kind of have all been through it or know someone that has. It's just like God, and those new people that kept moving to town.
Mhm.
And then the feeling like you can't compete because that looks like a Barbie doll, or whatever. It's like this is my town. Who are these new people moving in? How do I
Right.
compete with them? And of course, her young boyfriend makes some bad decisions, and then she deals with the women at the restaurant. And it's like her life's falling apart because of the influx of these socialites. Um, but yeah, I've had other people mention the gore thing. So I that's a tough one, right? Like people always say, like, what's the scariest book you've ever read? And I always say, I don't really get scared from reading a book.
Mhm.
Like you can't really scare somebody, but you can kind of try to be descriptive and at least make the person be able to visualize it. Um, and honestly, I always felt like gore is kind of my weakness. But that does, I guess, make me put a little more emphasis on it and trying to get it right and get that person feeling helpless along with the victim. Um, at least that's my goal.
Well, again, you accomplished that goal because I was just like, oh my gosh, I felt bad. I really
Yeah.
did. I mean, I was there. I was like, damn, I'm there with this character while this is happening.
Hmm.
And it was very, and I'm telling you, it was the way how you wrote it, very visceral. So,
Awesome. That's the goal. So I'll take
well,
your word for it.
well, I'm an instructor and everything, and I'm grading you at the moment. Visceral, of course. Check plus, check plus. All right, and then this new one right
Oh
here. This
man.
new one. Let's talk about this new one. No spoilers, but I'm digging it. I really am.
Okay. So you started it.
Yes, I have.
Good. Well, not good, but you know what I mean. I'm glad you have. Good. You better have.
You
Uh,
better, or else.
yeah. Yeah. Uh, what do you mean you're liking it? You haven't finished it yet, Keisha? Come on now.
I'm still. If
No.
you were closer, I would chuck this water bottle. Like, come on, man. Come on now.
Well, man, this is my show. I'm gonna cut that out. Cut that part out anyway.
No,
Uh,
he didn't.
no, this one, I'm super excited about this one. Like I really enjoyed writing the white and scratch. I had a lot of fun with those, but this one tugs at the old ticker, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
First off, it's about kids. Secondly, it's kind of based on my childhood environment growing up where I grew up.
Mm,
And let me preface this by saying that any similarities to actual characters or animals is purely coincidental. That's my legal statement. But these characters are based on people I knew in my real life. So, uh, the dog, certain characters, again, the environment where I grew up. Um, so there's a lot of that in there.
mhm.
Um, but yeah, and when I was that age, we used to play Bloody Mary. That was our thing.
Oh
So
yeah, that was our thing too.
we had a whole group at school, and we would each, we'd come up with our own story of doing it and what happened. And this went on for a while, and I still remember it as being some of the funnest times I've had. Like, yeah, I don't remember everything from my childhood, but I remember this particular moment in
Hmm.
time. Somebody'd come out and be like, there was blood coming from the faucet. We'd have all these different stories. I went to the cemetery last night when my parents were asleep. We had all these stories. stories, and trying to scare each other. So I wanted
Mhm.
to kind of pay homage to those old games, and I created that game, 2 Minutes with the Devil. And basically, you've got to go into the dark for 2 minutes and keep your eyes closed. If you open your eyes and the devil sees you and you see the devil, then the devil will eat your bones. And it's just 2 minutes, right? So it's the whole thing. It's 2 minutes. It's easy. Just go in
Mhm.
there. But when you're in those moments as a kid, and throughout the book, it's kind of like, is it real? Is it not real? Like I remember those days. Like you're kind of joking around and lying, but at the same time, you're like, it might be real. You're still a little leery to do it. Uh,
Yeah.
so I kind of wanted that to come across. But yeah, it's a coming of age thriller, I'd call it. I mean, there's some horror elements, but it's probably a little more thriller. Um, Set in the summer of 1986. Um, and yeah, it's just kids doing what kids did in 1986 during the summer, and then kids start disappearing while playing this particular game, and that's pretty much the book, trying to figure out what's happening there and where these kids are, and um, but yeah, this one again, I'm always excited when I complete a project, but this particular book here, I'm like, this is the one. Um, and then Don Noble did the cover work for it.
Mhm. Beautiful cover work. I love it.
Oh my gosh, he's fantastic. And he's not doing covers for D&T at the moment, but he was. They've got another really good designer over there too.
Mhm.
But I've built a relationship with Don, and we had been talking about this project for months, just kind of here and there. And I had interviewed him a while back and really got to know him. So I don't know. I'm one of those people, when I build a relationship, I like to keep that relationship, and it's a more comfort level for me. Like, okay, I know what he's going to do. I'm going
Mhm.
to use him rather than kind of branching out. And I mean, until he messes up, I have no need to. He's done every cover for anything I've done. It's fantastic. But I kind of sent him the ideas for the cover, and I said, I want to go for definitely vintage theme. I want the
Mhm.
warm look. I want the vintage font. I want the kids on bikes, and I want a bloody shoe. And I was very particular on what type of shoe.
Mhm.
Um, if you haven't gotten to that part of the book yet, you'll see why. But that's what he came up with, and we went back and forth a couple of times, and I was just like, can you darken this a little bit? And then I mean, it's fantastic. I've gotten so much praise for that cover, and everybody's like, this really does encompass a 1980s throwback horror novella. Like, this is great. So super excited. It's just come out really good. I got some fantastic blurbs from people that I respect highly. Ronald
Mhm.
Kelly, uh, Laurel Hightower, Mike Salt, Atlanta Drex, Vincent from the Dark Minds podcast.
Okay.
Yeah, just several folks that have been around in the horror world, and the book's gotten a lot of comparisons to It by Stephen King,
Mhm.
and I'll take
It's
that
a good
every day of the week and twice on
uh,
Sunday. Now, this novella is probably a sixth or a seventh of what It is. I think it's a huge book, right? I can't, as a horror author, I know this is sacrilege, but I've never finished a Stephen King novel. I won't even attempt one. I love his short stories, but the novels are way too big. They're way too fluffed up with over descriptiveness and all that kind of stuff. Which,
mhm.
I'm more of a novella guy, kind of get to the point thing. But yeah, the comparisons to It are really cool. Um, but yeah, no, just I'm sitting here just thinking about the book, and I'm excited about it. And it went for pre-sale today, or pre-order today, and it'll be fully available
Mhm.
everywhere on June 2nd. But yeah, the early responses are fantastic, and the folks from the ARC team that I have are absolutely loving it. And as far as horror genre, it's just general horror, nothing super gory, nothing extreme. A couple of moments that are probably going to punch you in the stomach, but um,
Yeah.
again, it's fun, but then it's sad at the same time. Um, and again, I think I had a little more attachment to it just because it's based on my childhood somewhat. Like I could have been down the street from these kids, so but yeah, super excited about it.
I am too. And you was talking about the cover. Um, book covers can make or break a story. They can make or break. And when you did the cover reveal on Instagram, and I love that the kids in the background on the bikes. I was like, this is so 80s right here.
Hmm.
And growing up in the 80s, was like that was the thing, like let's go ride bikes and go exploring, riding in the woods, down the street,
Oh, heck yeah.
going all these different places and stuff. I mean, and then you see the bloody shoe, which I'm gonna point out, how have you seen this kid, the milk carton, back in the 80s, that stranger
Mhm.
danger,
Yep,
I mean, we grew up with some crazy mess back then. We had to like
we
watch
did.
our backs. And it didn't even matter if we lived in a big city, or inner city or a small town or even in the country. It's just something about how we grew up, as children, that it was like we was thrown into a lot of dark, uh, stuff, and it just changed like our perspective as children. We still
Yep.
had the innocence and all of that stuff right there, but it was more of like, I don't know, we just had to be very vigilant about a
Yep.
lot of things.
Yeah, for sure. And that in the story too, I wanted the kids kind of on high alert somewhat, especially Max, the
Like,
protagonist. Um, but then I kind of wanted the parents to just kind of not be that concerned. Like in
mm-hmm,
the 80s, I felt, I don't know, go play all day, just come home for dinner. Like they didn't know where we were. We're riding bikes into town and stuff. I mean, they don't know where we're at. And it was like everything is fine back then for them. Now, once the flyers start popping up, the kids are getting a little concerned. Um, but yeah, there's a part in the book, and Max is thinking about the flyer of one of the missing kids, and
mm-hmm.
he recalls when their cat went missing and they put up flyers for the cat, and he was like, is there really any difference? Because he feels like nobody's taking it seriously, um, except the people that are directly affected or impacted. But like his parents and stuff, his dad is so occupied with watching, whoever's bashing Ronald Reagan on the news. That's all he cares about. Like it's like once they
That's
got cable TV, he didn't leave the couch. So,
right.
but
That's
yeah,
how it was, and yeah, that was how it was like in my household. Um, Reagan comes on the TV. Here's my mom talking crap. Here's my grandma talking crap. And then my parents, they got divorced like my brother, yeah, after my brother was born, that was like in 79. And then you hear a different set of mouth, from my
oh yeah,
dad. My dad's like, Reagan wasn't so bad. Shit.
yeah, 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 yeah. Just
That's
depends
how
on
it
where you're at.
it,
Um,
it, that was that, and that was like that, like, and you see like a lot of that in like the old 80s movies, like any 80s movie is across the board, of how parents was just so unconcerned and they're just doing their own thing. Like you said, like y'all go out
yeah,
and play
y'all got leave
before
us
dinner.
alone. Yeah,
Yeah, before dinner, like, come home before dinner, or for us it's like y'all get home before the street light comes on.
yeah,
Because when the
exactly.
street light comes on and you're not at home, that means you're gonna
Yeah,
get an ass whooping.
yeah, you're
Miss
gonna be
Mark, where
grounded
you
or get
been?
your ass whipped. Yeah, like I went to it was field day at my little girl's school today. She's 9, she's in 3rd grade, and I went and I wore a
Aw.
mullet. I wore a mullet and a red, white, and blue headband and the tall socks. I was like, I'm gonna have fun with it. So I'm out there and we're doing it. And, part toward the end of the day, she goes, "I'm so happy that you get to come do this with me, Daddy." And I told her
Oh,
to, because there's other kids around whose dads can't. And I said, "Yeah," I said, "that's why I do what I do. So I can have these moments." I said, "Some dads aren't as fortunate. They're not able to do that with you." Um, but it made me think, my parents didn't do any of that crap with me. Like
they
it was just like, yeah, get out of here, watch the TV, or, get out of here, or before we had a remote control, it was change the channel, or
yeah,
whatever. And it's like,
yeah,
all right, now go out of here. It's like,
yeah.
good grief.
They
So
basically, or they sit you in front of the TV
yeah,
and they
yeah,
like let you watch TV all day long because the
yeah, leave
TV
me
was a
alone.
babysitter. Yeah, the
Yeah,
TV was
man.
a babysitter.
And we're doing our best with that now too, because now you got tablets and all that, and YouTube and these short videos, which are so bad for the kids' brains because it's just too much too fast, right? So then when they get off of YouTube, if they're not watching these fast videos, they're bored no matter what they're doing. So we've been really been paying attention to that. But yeah, the parents just, I mean, at least mine. I won't speak for everybody. I don't want to make a blanket
Mhm.
statement, but parents weren't involved, at least for me back then. So like we're more involved now with our kids and stuff, and I'm grateful for that. But yeah, 1986, these parents they're watching the news, and the wife's cooking dinner, the dad's bitching at the TV, and the kid is not even seen. So unless they're gonna get on to him for something, it's like okay, but anyway, yeah.
But, yeah, like just talking about that good old nostalgia of the 80s, and of course MTV came out, and
Yep.
music videos and break dancing, and there was a lot of good things that came out during that time, from what I remember. And then I'm just thinking about in 86. Do you remember in 86 when um I believe it was the Challenger that blew
Oh, the
up?
shuttle. Yes, I do.
Yeah,
We
the shuttle.
watched it at school, and my memory's
I
a
did
little
too.
okay. See, yeah, my memory's a little fuzzy, but I think we watched it in class, and
Yeah.
I think I was 6 at that point, so I was real young. I think, yeah, it must have been first grade or something. So
Yes.
the idea of it happening really didn't, like, I couldn't process it, what was happening. Like if it were to happen now and I'm watching it, I'm gonna be distraught and just heartbroken for these people. But when you're a kid, you kind of really don't. I guess when you're a child, you don't realize that there's bad in the world. It's hard for
Mhm.
you to grasp bad things because you just feel invincible, and you feel like tomorrow's going to be there. Um,
Mhm.
and that's nothing on kids. It's just how your brains are. They haven't developed fully yet to understand that kind of thing. But yeah, I'm pretty sure we were in class. And again, it's a fuzzy memory now, but yeah, yeah, that was yeah, in writing this book too, there are so many, like, thinking about it, there's so many things I could put in there that would be 80s. But
Mhm.
I also didn't want to overdo it and make it like known that I was trying just to piece things in there. So I kind of try to
Right.
keep it simple. But if and when there's a sequel, yeah, there are a lot of things that can go in there. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I have a hard time not having fun thinking about the 80s. I know you try to bring us down with the Challenger, but
I
it's a,
wasn't trying to bring it down, but I'm just
but
you
yeah,
said 86. I'm just like, yo, that's like when that shuttle blew up and we was in
yeah,
a
yeah.
cafeteria. When you remember like we call it the cafetorium. It was like the cafeteria slash like auditorium.
Oh
And then
yeah,
you had
yeah.
like those benches, and we was watching that, and it blew up. And I was just like,
Do you do
there's
you
shit.
recall do you recall your teachers' reactions? Like, looking back, I wish I could like go back and see their faces, because
Yeah.
they would be, um they were understanding what was going on, you know what I mean? So that would be hitting them. But yeah, as a child, it didn't hit me. Like thinking about it now, it hits me. Like these poor people. Like, and you watch it, um, not saying to watch it, but there's shows about it and stuff and documentaries, and it's just like, my gosh, just moms and dads in there,
it,
doing something great, and just yeah, just
and just like just gone like that.
um,
But I do remember a few um of the teachers' reactions. They gasped. They was
okay.
quite hype, upset,
Oh
and
yeah,
all of us was just like we was in shock, but we just couldn't process it. Like, did this thing blew up? I mean, there was no
yeah,
DVR or nothing like
right,
that. This is not pre-recorded. It
no,
literally happened in front of our eyes,
real
like on
time,
television.
yeah,
And I mean, even I just thinking back as much as I can, I was just sitting around just looking, just like this thing just blew up. I didn't cry or nothing like that because I'm a child, and
sure,
this is new, and I didn't even know what to think at that time. And then years and years and years later, when getting older and stuff, and you think back on it, you're like, damn.
uh-huh,
Oh,
yep,
you just gobsmacked. I mean, and then it just hits you all of a sudden, later on. You're like, I felt so, you feel so bad for those people. Um, and then the other one that did the same thing. That was, I think it was like a 2000 or something like that. But we felt the shock waves from that. That one blew up around Hemp Hill, Nacogdoches area, around in there, and
huh,
we felt shock wave from that, and the house just rumbled, and we're like, "What just happened?" And
hmm.
then it was on the news that when it was entering in, that it just blew up. Now that brought me back to like 1986
Yeah,
because of that happened. That was like back in 2000. It was like 2003, 2004, somewhere around in there, like that. And it just like all the memories of that like flooded, and I was like, man, not this again. I was like,
yeah,
oh man, that was, I mean, and just feeling the whole shockwave of that thing just blowing up. And I would say I'm about like, yeah, about like an hour, no, like about like an hour away, but we still felt those shockwaves of it. It
wow,
was it's you can't even describe it. Like words just cannot describe. And then just that taking me back to 1986, I was just like, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. But let's lighten up the mood right
ah.
there and everything. um, what's your favorite horror film?
um, so that's always a tough question for me. So I'm kind of a, I don't know, I have seasons, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go with my most recent favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I know one's probably not even considered horror, but these are two that really stuck to me, and I was like, "Damn, that's a good movie." Not necessarily super scary, but I was just like, "That's a good movie." First one was Nope, about the aliens.
Yeah.
I just thought that was a fantastic movie, and I know it wasn't scary, but I just thought how they kind of led up to it and revealed it, and I was like, "This is such a cool alien concept," right? I was like, "This is different. This is so original." And the acting was good. The characters were awesome. Um, that one was that I thought that one was fantastic. And then the other one I saw more recently was Knock at the Cabin. Um, those are my two favorites right now. And I mean, I watch a lot of horror, and I love slashers. I love good campy ones and stuff. But those two, like when I'm like, that was a damn good movie. Those two both hit it for me on pretty much every level. And again, are they really horror? I mean, there's horrific stuff happening, I guess, but yeah, those probably my favorite two movies recently in any genre, honestly.
I actually throw those like Nope Oh, I went to the theater to see it,
Did you?
and yeah, I liked it, and I watched it again. It was like last month, because I just like the acting is brilliant.
Hmm.
And the two characters, was it like I said EJ. Well, anyways, and I was just like, yo, that is like my brother and I. Like that's me and my brother, cause
Yep.
she is so extra, but and then
Uh,
her brother was more of like, straight and narrow,
reserved.
gotta
Yeah.
do this. I like the whole legacy part of them having, Hollywood acting animals. And I was like, yo, we have like cows. We've been raising cows for like 50 years. So
Yeah.
I was really connected to that. The whole entirety of like the just the isolation part,
Uh-huh.
and you got Jupiter and then you got them, just the whole isolation part of like the with the scenes. I was like, that is just how it feels like where I live. You just feel, we have neighbors, but it was the whole isolation part
Hmm.
of it that is really really creepy about it. I wouldn't say like creepy, but it can become creepy and
Sure.
really scary, because you live out in the woods, you don't know what's out there lurking. And the way, and you're right, the whole alien concept of like it was beautiful, beautiful cinematography, beautiful concept of this alien. It just gave me like Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
You know
um
what? That's a good comparison. Like they're far different movies,
mhm.
but I would say it's up there with that one.
It is. It's right up there, because Terry Garr. I loved her in it, and Richard Dreyfuss. But then the aliens were very friendly, but this one was not very friendly. This son of a gun was hungry.
Yeah, and the idea, and spoiler alert, but it's like a biological creature, the actual ship.
Mhm.
So
It,
I've never seen that before. I was like, okay, that's a really cool concept, and the idea that it's fighting over territory like an animal,
mhm.
and it was like horses, I guess. That's what he because so it kind of paralleled that. Um, but yeah, the whole thing was cool. Like yeah, training horses for movies and stuff. Like it was just cool, you know. And then the
It,
and then the place where they did the little shows and stuff
it
with
was.
Glenn from Walking Dead. I don't know his name, but you know what I'm
I
talking
know it
about.
was Glenn. I was like, oh my God, it's Glenn. Oh, I
And they were like
cried and stuff.
sacrificing stuff to the aliens, and people are watching
Mhm.
it like a spectacle. I was like, this is really cool. This is a cool movie, man. This is
It
really
it
good.
was it was really cool. The whole living ship. There was actually a show on Sci-Fi, called damn what was Farscape. It was a show called
Horse-
Farscape.
And
Um,
that
and
one
it
had a
had,
living.
yeah, it was a living ship.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Farscape, the ship was living. So the characters that was like on the ship and everything, the ship felt everything, if it get hit,
Oh
all kinds of
wow.
crazy stuff. But yeah, and I was like, oh, this is like, I was like, it's a living ship. It's like from Farscape. And I remember that was like a really cool sci-fi show. And I was like, man, this is like, it was a really cool movie. Um like, dang, I mean, it was like, and the whole thing of Nope, because I would say it
Yeah.
like it is. When
Like
it comes
oh
down to
no.
us melanated people and everything, when we see hear something scary or whatever like that, we just like, nope, we finna
Yeah.
run. Nope, we not finna
Yeah.
investigate.
Yeah.
Nope,
Leave me out of it.
yeah, leave me out of this right here. I'm not getting out of that car. I'm not getting out of this house until it's gone. I love, like, I was just cracking up laughing, just nope. When he said nope, he was about to get out.
Dry,
Like,
dry as characters you get to, just
mm-mm.
all just straightforward. No joking with that guy. And it's like, oh, nope.
No joking with that. And A Cabin in the Woods, that was a good movie. I bawled like a baby. And I was the only person in the theater. I bawled like a baby at the end.
Yeah, man. And I got to say, Batista did a damn good job in that movie too. Um, I'm reading the book now. Trembley's really good, right? and he's kind of like you kind of love or hate him because in his novels he takes different approaches, and it's not always what you're accustomed to.
Mm-hmm.
How he writes and different things, but yeah, the book's cool, and it's kind of going into each character. You're kind of learning
Mm-hmm.
about the characters, and I'm reading 3 or 4 books now, mainly indie, of course, because I've so many great indie books too. But so it takes me a little while to get through books. But the book's really cool. But yeah, Dave Batista, just when he comes up and meets the little girl, and and
Oh,
it's super creepy because you don't
those
know what he's
those
going to do.
and those Hitchcock camera angles. Those
Ah, yeah, the
Hitchcock
shot, yeah,
camera
Shyamalan,
angles, those
yeah,
shots right there. And when it started doing that, when he came up, because first of all, Batista looked like an Allstate insurance agent.
that's exactly who that character is. He's like a
He's
just
a
a
teacher.
he's a
Yeah,
nice, nerdy, boring teacher, like to put it lightly. But but yeah, I thought that one left me thinking about it. So I was like,
it
okay,
left it
that's
left me, just really, and like when I left the theater, it left me thinking for like 20 minutes. And I was still crying. I'm driving home and I'm still crying. And
yeah,
it had me, just kept me thinking about, the film. And I feel that like M. Night Shyamalan like really didn't put no twist in it, you know.
yeah.
We're gonna put the
Now
twist. But
I hear
I think he did an excellent job.
I hear that he changed the ending for the movie. So I'm kind of anxious to get to the end of the book to see what the difference was. I'm trying not to read spoilers or anything. Um,
Yeah.
but I mean, I thought the movie was really good. Really well done. Acting was great. I think the characters were perfect. The actors that played them, and the story was really cool. I mean, it's one of those where you think like, what if this happened to me? Like, what if just random people
Mhm.
walked up to my daughter and then they're filling us with this info and requests? You know, it's like, what do you do, right? Because it's very hard to believe, you know,
It
you
is.
know. Um, but obviously, these people passionately believe it for a reason. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, it was a really cool movie. Paul Tremblay's good. I mean, he's a really brilliant writer, and again, he's he's mainly loved, but he's hated sometimes just because of his books don't necessarily fit a category the way he writes, and they can be choppy and different things. Stephen Graham Jones is like that too. Some of his books,
Mhm.
and people are like, I don't like how it was the layout or the format or how it was done. It's like, no, but that fits the story.
Yeah.
But yeah, really cool. Those are the 2 movies that I bring up now when I think of like what's a good movie I've seen, and I can't really think of any others. I mean, the Scream movies were cool, right? The newer
Yeah.
ones, those are fun. Um, my least favorite movie recently was the newest Halloween.
Did not
Uh,
watch that.
dude, they ruined the character. So Michael Myers. What makes that guy scary is he's kind of like just a ghost in a mask, and he's unstoppable.
Mhm. Mhm.
You know, and there's that mystery there. So
Mhm.
when that doofus is like, ripping the mask off and bullying Michael Myers, I'm like, yeah, this is terrible. Like y'all just ruined the character. Like, what are you doing? Like this guy. Like, I was like, you don't. And I thought the one before it, I thought that one was fun. Halloween
Oh,
Kills or whatever. I thought it was
I
fun.
didn't even I didn't like Halloween Kills.
You didn't?
I No, I didn't. I did not like the whole grab your pitchforks and and your torches and stuff looking for Michael Myers.
The
I
whole
did
town
not
trying to get.
I didn't like that. I didn't like Anthony Michael Hall's character. And at the end, I was so glad he was fucking dead. I'm like,
Ah,
good. I'm glad you killed like little weird science panty sniffing 16 candles fucking
yeah. It was his
Anthony
brother Kit.
Michael Hall.
Yeah, Anthony
I got
Michael
her
Hall.
panties, y'all. But
Yeah,
I like actually I really refused to watch the last one. I felt like the whole Laurie Strode and Michael Myers is like really played out, And I was just like,
Yeah.
please just kill Laurie Strode. She is tired. She uh
Give
wants
that
to
lady some
rest.
peace.
She needs to go to the upper room. She
Yeah.
is literally tired. And I mean, she was in Halloween's Kills. She was tired. Michael Myers just need to collect a SSI check and just go back to his old original home and just live his life in retirement. That's how I felt it. So Halloween ends, I was just like, I'll watch it whenever I'm
So you
bored.
haven't seen it?
No, but I'll watch it when I'm
Okay.
bored.
Well,
Probably in another
I
year or so.
I mean, I probably wouldn't even watch it when I'm bored. It's just gonna make you upset because they really, I mean, they destroy the mystery of Michael Myers. At least in Halloween Kills, like I get what you're saying. Like it wasn't scary, right? Like it's scary when people are in a house and then the back door's open. They're like, "What the hell is this open for?" You know, it's like, "Oh, he's in there. It's creepy," or he's standing
Yeah.
behind a bush. But I liked Kills because it was still Michael Myers. But then the Halloween
Hmm.
ends, they completely. Who knows? You may love the movie, but
I may not
seeing
like the movie.
seeing some weird guy bullying Michael Myers just completely turned me off. I was like, they are destroying the character in the last episode, um, making him too humanoid. I guess like I don't know. I felt that way though with Rob Zombie's Halloween movies.
Hmm.
Like backstory is good sometimes,
Hmm.
but then other times it's not. Like sometimes you just need that ruthless, mysterious killer that's killing people and you don't know why.
Hmm.
There's no rhyme or reason. That kind of adds to the fear factor. And I thought Rob Zombie, and I know everybody loves his movies, but I thought he gave way too much backstory, and then Michael Myers just became this kind of crazy biker looking guy that was released from the mental ward, and I'm like, he's too human now. That takes away from it. You got to put the
It,
mask on, man. You got to put the mask on, leave it on. I don't need to know that guy's backstory. Again, backstory is good for certain characters, but not for him, in my opinion. So I keep it mysterious. I don't know.
yeah,
It's just me.
keep that mystery. Just the mystery of it. I like Halloween and Halloween 2. And I actually like
Yeah.
Halloween 3 Season of the Witch because
Yeah.
it veered off from from Michael Myers, and people thought like, oh, this movie is trash, but I actually like Halloween 3. It was the whole mask weird thing, and that stupid commercial came on, and they had that mask on, and they face all melting and crickets and bugs. I was like, oh my God, this is gross. But I like Halloween 3
Yeah. Yeah.
because of that. But my favorite Halloween movie is of course 1 and 2 and Halloween H2O.
Oh, that's what
I
Josh
do
Hartnett.
like, yeah, I do like those. I like
That was
those,
a
but
fun one. Yeah.
yeah, that was a really fun one. But this, the Halloween ends, I'm just like, I watched it whenever I get a chance to come around to it, but I did not enjoy Halloween Kills. It was just it was just too much, and I feel that that it should have ended on Halloween Kills, but they want to make another one. And then, by the way, I am older than Michael Myers by 8 months, so and Michael Halloween came out in '78, and I was like, oh. Well, I was like, look at this. Isn't this cool right here? I was like,
Yeah, that's funny.
there was a lot of great movies that came out in '78. Dawn of the Dead, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the remake. It had
Yeah,
Leonard Nimoy,
those are big names.
Donald Sutherland. It had like
Not
Cuto, like
Kiefer?
Jeff Goldblum.
Donald Sutherland. Man, we're not even to Kiefer yet, right? It's like it's way back.
No, we're not. No, and then Kiefer got my heart like in Lost Boys.
Oh,
I was like, oh my gosh! I was like, your
yeah.
dad got my heart. In Body Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I was so sad. Because they got him, and I was like, no, not Donald Sutherland. And
Not Donald Sutherland,
no,
you son of a bitch.
I know. I was like, no. I was hot, but I
It's
wanted to
me.
cry because he was Oh yeah, and I was very upset when they got Leonard Nimoy because I'm a big Trekkie fan, and I fell in love with like some Mr. Spock. And I
Oh,
heard really good stories about Leonard Nimoy, particularly when I go and do Comic Cons, because I
yeah,
cosplay. Haven't done it in a while, but I heard some really great stories about Leonard Nimoy. But he was my favorite on Invasion of the Body Snatchers. They got him. I'm like, no, not Leonard Nimoy, not Mr. Spock. And
man, I haven't
I'm
seen that
highly
movie.
upset.
I'm trying to remember that movie. Like I've seen it, but I think I was pretty damn young. Um, I do remember. I remember the characters, but I don't remember the actual action in the movie. I might have to
It
go
was a
back
lot
and
of
watch that.
running,
Yeah, I might have to go
lots
back and
of
rewatch it. Yeah,
lots of riding, lots of running, lots of uh just the gross, like the pod, invading their bodies, and they're
yeah,
trying to stay like awake. And when I watched that, I was like, I'm gonna stay awake, for like, yeah. And that did affect me as a kid because I'm like, I don't want to go to sleep because like the pod people gonna get me, and I don't want to end up like
man.
Donald Sutherland.
Ah, yeah, yeah. It didn't end up too good for that guy.
Yeah, it really didn't. But anyways, man, I have some dun 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 dun,
Here we go.
some random trivia
I got
questions.
some random answers. All right.
And you're gonna get some random ass answers. Some could be horror, some could be from parts of your novel, some is just fun, stupid stuff.
Okay.
Are you ready?
As I'll ever be. Let's do this.
All right then. All right. In your novella, The White, what was being prepared during Margot's arrival? What was the food that was being prepared during Margot's arrival?
Well, I know the answer.
What's that?
I don't know. This change of story. Spoiler alert. Spaghetti.
That is partially correct and also incorrect. It's
Uh-oh.
actually boring, bland ass spaghetti.
Yeah. According to some in the novella. Yeah. Yeah. Dan has to. What is he's like? Yeah. Who would have thought you need pasta for spaghetti or something? So you drive off.
All right, moving on to the next one. All right, and you got to be ready for this. I'm waiting for this answer.
Oh boy.
Finish the lyrics of this 3-6 Mafia song.
Oh jeez.
Slob on my.
I'm gonna say knob, but I don't know.
That is correct, sir. That
No.
is correct. That is correct. That
Well,
is correct. That is a very popular song. It still plays in clubs, in people's um, cars,
let me
even
ask you this,
in
Keisha.
parties.
How long has it been since I've been to a club where they're playing 3-6 Mafia? It's been a bit.
I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. I mean, you got to think about it. You got to
Oh
think
man.
about it. Whenever we were younger and we went to party and stuff like that, and that
Yep.
song came on, and we
Yep.
got
Yep.
the
Yep.
got the singing. So, all right, that is correct right there. You got 1.5 questions right there. All
Yep.
right, moving on. This might be a toughie right here. Fruit roll-ups, a children's popular snack back in the 80s. What was the four flavors?
Oh man. Okay. I don't know. The only flavor I can think of is red because that's the only ones we had. I don't know what flavor it was, but it was red fruit roll ups. That's all we had. So I don't know. I don't know
Oh
what
my
it
God, you got me wasted. You said flavor red. Man, did you call Kool-Aid red? Did somebody ask you what's your favorite Kool-Aid flavor? Did you say red instead of fruit
Are they
punch?
really fruit? Are they, well, imitating fruit? Fruit roll up
Okay,
out
well,
there. Fruit.
okay. Since you said red, come on. Just think of a fruit roll up, red
Well,
fruit roll up.
I'm gonna go all red. So you get cherry, strawberry, red
Got
apple.
to. Okay.
And
I know
oh,
this one is a hard
it's
one.
gotta be orange, no?
Yeah, it was sort of orange, but it's actually apricot.
Apricot.
Apricot. That
Lord.
that 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 shocked me right there. But I
That's a
do
trivia
remember.
question and a half there. Apricot.
I remember strawberry, cherry, and then of course the apple. Apricot. I don't think that was very popular, but I
Yeah, I
remember
was gonna say
strawberry cherry was very
that's also the trivia answer to the least popular fruit roll-up flavor. It's apricot.
popular. It really is. All right, let's move it on. I'm having fun with this. You having fun? I know this
Oh
is
yeah,
like, oh yeah.
I
All
always do.
right.
Okay.
Name two 80s movies that David Bowie starred in.
Oh geez.
Two 80s
Oh,
movies that
two?
David two, two, not one, not four, two
All right,
movies in
Labyrinth,
the 80s.
Labyrinth 1 and Labyrinth 2. I don't think there was a Labyrinth 2. So Labyrinth, obviously. The only other I can't think of another movie, but I'm thinking of the music video "Dancing in the Street" with Mick Jagger and David Bowie.
That is a video, sir. That is a
And you
video.
remember I
That's
know it's not a movie, but you remember that video. That's the only thing I'm thinking with David Bowie,
yes.
on
I used to
TV.
dance to that. I used
Oh
to
my
dance to
gosh. Yeah, that's a good one.
it.
No, I don't know a second movie with David Bowie.
That movie is going to be The Hunger.
The Hunger, yeah, I have no clue what that is. Is it
Oh,
good?
it's an avant-garde, vampire horror movie. It
Oh my
stars Susan
gosh, really?
Sarandon, yes,
And he's the
Catherine,
vampire?
yes, he's a
Oh,
vampire. And the opening scene is just so badass because you had Bajas, singing live like
oh,
Bela
oh
Lugosi
my
is
gosh.
dead. And,
Wow.
and and who is actually the lead singer of Bajas?
Beats the hell out of me.
Jesus
You just said
Christ,
that
man.
you just said that name, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, all right, yeah, I remember those guys." I don't know the name of the singer, no way.
Peter Murphy.
Peter Murphy.
Yeah.
Who the hell's Peter Murphy? Is
Never mind. Never mind. Never mind. Never mind.
that Eddie's
Never mind.
brother?
No, no, no. He was the singer. He was the lead singer of Bajas. Bela Lugosi is dead. Never
Yeah,
mind.
I remember the band and some of the songs, but some of the jingles, but, I don't remember the name of the guys in the band.
I know the lead singer of Depeche Mode because I seen him about three damn times, David Gahan. But
Oh,
okay.
yeah, and see, I wouldn't have been able to name him, but that's one of my favorite bands. They came to San Antonio, which is close to me, but, jerks wanted, like, 380 a ticket, like, starting out. I was like, "Oh, man. Sorry, man."
Well, they're
Yep.
coming to Dallas in October, so they're circling back. So the tickets are like 200 something dollars, and I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna go have to see Depeche Mode again because
See, that's my jam, dude.
yeah, Andrew Fletcher, he like passed away, and I was super sad. He was like the glue, the heart of Depeche Mode.
No
So,
really? Okay, so
yeah,
they're still like a trio though, right? So they just had to replace him?
nope, nope. It's just them two. It's just Martin Gore and David Gahan.
Wow.
Yeah,
Uh,
they had other people that play in the band with them because they after Alan Wilder left after Songs of Faith and Devotion, the devotional tour, it was like a whole big crazy mess between all of them and stuff. So
yeah.
Alan left the band, and then it was just three of them, Andy, Dave, and Martin. And then last year uh, Andy passed away. And I was like, what the hell, man? Like, seriously?
Kind of.
Fletch passed away. You never, and my kids were like, oh my gosh, mom. They're like, damn, I'm glad that we seen them in concert. I'm glad we
Oh,
seen him.
hell yeah.
He
No, well,
passed
I mean,
away.
that's they're icons, you know what I mean? Um, there's certain bands, and I'm trying to get my little girl out to see more too. She's getting to that age, but there's some bands you can see all the time, but then there's just the icons, right? You're like, okay, these guys had a big impact in that time for music.
Mhm.
Yeah, Depeche Mode is definitely up there. I'm trying to think, what is the song?
There's
Oh, okay. So, funny story. Speaking of Depeche Mode, so for my 40th, which was a few years ago, um, we did a house party here, and my wife helped set it up. But we did a like an '80s nightclub theme
sweet.
karaoke, yeah, but karaoke party.
Yes.
So my rule was like, okay, only '80s can be sang. That's the rule. And I go, if somebody else isn't singing, I'm going to sing my favorite saddest songs. And I think I opened it up with "Stripped Down to the Bone" by Depeche Mode. You know what song I'm
Let
talking about?
me see
Yes.
you
Yeah.
strip down to
Oh,
the bone. Let me
hell of a
hear
song.
you
Great
sing.
song. But that's how I opened up the karaoke night, with that song, like, just super, dark and depressing, and people are like, "You gonna sing that?" I go, "I told you. You're gonna get that all night unless y'all sing, right?" So obviously people were started singing the more fun '80s stuff, but yeah, no, I'm a big, first wave, Euro wave guy. I wasn't big into the hair bands, but, like, Depeche Mode, Tears for Fears, Thompson
Yes,
Twins, all that stuff.
yes. The
That's my jam.
Cure,
Yeah, man.
Susie and the Banshees.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got made fun of like listening to Depeche Mode in junior high, but I'm glad
Not
I was
anymore. You're
yeah.
cool now.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, Modi for I'm a Modi for life, baby. I'm a Modi
Yeah,
for motherfucking life till the day I die. I am like a huge like stands like die, hardcore diehard fan for Depeche Mode. But
that's
I
all.
was made fun of like listening to Depeche Mode because back then it was like New Kids on the Block and all that,
Yeah,
then like the whole Dirty South like Master P scene was like coming out and
yeah.
everybody was like Depeche Mode is stupid. They're not gonna like, they're suck and stuff. And then years later, I'm just like, where's Master P now? I
Yeah,
mean, yeah, New Kids on the Block still tour and stuff, but they do like their little reunion tours
hey,
and everything else.
those kids back then didn't know nothing about emo.
They really did it. They really did it. But I had two best friends. They were into Depeche Mode. Sadly, they passed away in high
Oh,
school and everything. Yeah, and so the song never let me down when I watched The Last of Us, and that was like the first episode of The Last of Us, and that song
and that song
played.
came on? Okay,
And a song came on, and I just bawled my little eyes out. And it was mine and Chris's favorite song, and we used to sing that when we were like in seventh and eighth grade.
isn't
And
it weird how that happens? Like, a
oh my
song comes back and instantly throws you back to that time, it's so cool.
Oh man, and I'm
So
and
neat.
I miss and I miss him though. I mean, I really miss him. He was the one that got me into reading a lot of Stephen King books too, the big lofty ones. So we were like sitting there reading over 1,000 pages like Stephen King books in junior high and listening to Depeche Mode.
Yeah, that's so
So
cool.
you could tell I was like the weird one, the outsider. And
Mhm.
I mean, I've always been like that all my life. So I mean, I already accepted. I'm just like I don't give a shit. That's just how
Yeah,
I am. And I'm not a cookie cutter person. And I am a nonconformist. So what it do? What's hood? You got a
yeah.
problem? With me? Oh well, that's
Like,
just how I am. But
this is
all
me,
right.
take or leave it. Yeah.
Oh, I'm crunk now. I'm crunk now because you love the Pesh mode. Oh
Oh,
my
man. Yeah, but see, here's my problem. I don't know song titles and I don't know people in bands, but I know, like, like, I won't even know the title of the song, but then you put it on, I'm like, oh hell yeah, like that's my, like I love that song, but I just never, I don't know, just something I never memorize the song titles except for like the main ones that you see all the
God.
time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've got an older brother and older sister, and my older sister was really big into new wave. That's what it was called back then. Uh,
Yeah.
I think what is she? She might be. She's in her 50s now. But there was a new wave nightclub, and it was like next to this bowling alley, and she brought me in to introduce me to her friends and stuff. And I'm a little kid, but it was just cool that I got to go into this nightclub. You can't do that anymore. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, she was all about it. So I'd always listen to music with her and draw or whatever. She was a real good artist. It's just like, man, yeah, now, '80s, dude, that's my jam. And Like even some of the '90s stuff that I hated. I took my daughter to see Third Eye Blind because I was like, I hated them when I was a grunge guy, so I hated Third Eye Blind.
I did
Um,
too.
but now I
Oh,
like them. I like them. It's crazy. I don't like the songs that you hear all the time, but they got
yeah.
some like talented guy, right? The lead singer, and they got some good songs, and he's a good songwriter,
Hmm.
and it's fun, it's upbeat. So I was like, they came in. It was their 25th anniversary tour, and the tickets were $25.
Oh, that's not
I'm like,
bad at
I'm like,
all.
we're taking our little girl to this, and again, not because it's my favorite band, but they were kind of iconic for that era, right? They did some different things with music, and they were kind of a big deal. But yeah, there's just so certain bands where I'm like, okay, that band really stood out. I might have hated them or or loved them either way, but it's like that's an iconic band. So we're trying to do more of that. But yeah, Depeche Mode really let me down with those $380 tickets. I was like, yeah, I just can't do that. And I ain't going by myself,
Never let me down with the $300.
Yeah. I said,
Oh my
I told my wife, I said, let's wait till closer to the time. They're gonna have to come down on those prices. And then they were sold out right away. I was like, hell.
no, no. I'm gonna have to buy. I'm buying my ticket a little bit earlier, so I can like have them before they shoot right up.
Yeah,
And but yeah, it was like really a good time when the last time they came
I bet,
on
man.
tour was like in 2017. And I got my son out of school. He was like in fourth grade. And I
Yeah,
was like, "You're gonna be at school." And I was like, "Fuck yeah." And he was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Oh, we're gonna see Depeche Mode." He's like, "Yeah."
yeah.
And we went, and my daughter, it was just gonna be me and my son, but my daughter's like, "Mom, can I tag along?" I said, "The last time I took you to go see
That's
Depeche Mode,
better.
you fell asleep." And she's like, "Okay, I'll still come." So we
Yeah.
just made it like a family affair, and they had fun. And of course, they like, "Mom is always dancing." So I'm like one of those little dancing queens. And so I'm just dancing,
Uh-huh.
dancing like up a storm. And they're just like, "Oh my God, we just get tired of you dancing, Mom." I'm like, "You should already be used to me dancing as it is, anyways."
What's that? Play that. I hate the song, but I see it when I'm at the gym. Pink's new song. It's like I'm never not gonna dance again or something. It's the name of the song.
Uh, this sounds like
Yeah.
Careless Whispers, like Wham.
The song is
Okay,
horrible, but it would be fitting next time they tell you not to dance. You need to play that for them.
I probably would right there. All right. I got one last question on this random trivia.
Oh boy.
And this is more of like a Texas thing because, we from Texas, Texas,
Yeah.
Lone
Let's see.
Star State. So this is a Texas related question and everything. And I have seen this controversial debate
Oh boy.
online. And yes, it is Texas related. Which one do you prefer? Whataburger or In-N-Out?
Oh, that's an easy Waterburger, hands down.
I
Um,
knew you was gonna say that.
yeah, but you don't know how many 2:30 a.m. double meat, double cheese burgers I've eaten. There used to be one right down the street from my house, and I mean, I'm probably my arteries are still suffering from it. But late night burgers, but no, yeah, no, Whataburger since I was a kid, like in Corpus area and stuff. We
Hmm.
and I go with my dad's special. It was the double meat, double cheese. Then he'd get a wad of chicken with cheese, and then he'd put his
What a chicken.
yeah, and then he put his French fries on the wad of chicken sandwich and eat it that way. And I've kind of continued that legacy. You get one of those hot apple pies too. I don't do those all the time, but yeah.
I call Whataburger the drunk people food.
Oh, well, because they're open 24 hours. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're right. And I mean, it is.
It, it's, it's
It-
it's like the official drunk people food. Now, In-N-Out, I would say this. This is more In-N-Out is more of the next day hangover food.
oh, okay.
It really is. Um, well, I used to go out with this guy. He lived in Orange County.
Uh,
So he, you know, fly me out and everything else like that. I was like
oh,
really super young and really hot and
really
everything else. I'm still
impressing
kind of
you.
cute, like
Yeah.
all like that and everything. So I get super drunk, and he will run the next morning and get me an In-N-Out animal style burger. and that was like the best hamburger
Oh
ever.
man,
That
really?
and I love going out to California and eating In and Out. Now here, that's a different
The In
story.
and Outs here a little different.
Oh my God. I think it's just the grease value. I don't know. It just does not taste the same. So when the one that when they first started to open up the franchise here a couple of
Yeah,
years back, I ate at the one in Arlington. I was visiting my cousins. They live in the DFW area.
sure.
And I was like, yeah, and I was like raving about In and Out because I like, been graced by In and Out in California. And we got an animal style. She ate it. She was like, "Oh my God, my stomach." I ate it. I was like, I'm running to the bathroom and I was like, this is not it right here.
Damn.
So I didn't eat any In and Out here. So, my daughter and I, we went to San Francisco and it was around her 16th birthday,
Sure.
for her to like ride her, first airplane ride, being out of the state, et cetera, et cetera. So we got an In and Out burger. And she's like, "Oh my God, this food is delicious. Oh my God, this hamburger is so great." And then she's like, "Mom, you are literally like whooping my ass, like ripping and running down these hills in San Francisco." I'm like, "Yes, girl, keep up. You're younger than me. You're supposed to be like passing me up like Speedy Gonzalez, but I'm whooping your ass and walking these little hills and stuff in San Francisco." But
Yeah,
she ate it In and Out here, and she's like, hands down, In and Out in California is way better than ones in Texas.
that's
So
weird. Maybe it's different meat or different supplier or something.
I don't know. I have no idea. But the one that's on 75 on North Expressway, in Dallas, not that far from
Give 'em a
Mockingbird
shout
Lane.
out. Give them a shout
I
out. They're
know,
listening
right? Shout out to like In and Out there in
on
75. Deep
75. Yeah.
detail. Okay, detail. Those are like pretty good. They
All right.
almost come close to the ones in California. So whenever I'm in Dallas, I'm going to be in Dallas next month for a convention. So I'm going to shoot up and get me an In and Out there. So they're not
See,
bad. That
I've
one's
only
not.
eaten it once here, and that's how good it was. And I think I didn't order it animal style. I think I just ordered it human style.
Animal style is just not. It's like one of those secret menu things, and it's got like the secret sauce and all of that.
Yeah.
Animal style. It's really
A
good.
lot of
I
secret, a
enjoy.
lot of secrets on that sandwich. A lot of secrets.
I mean, like, if you eat Kentucky Fried Chicken, like, what is like the 21 herbs and spices that
Yeah,
they
but
use?
21 is that necessary? That's a
I
lot.
That's a lot of damn seasoning and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, I used to Kentucky Fried Chicken used to be really good, but it just went down a drain for me. And I was like, "Whoa, this is too much season." I love my seasons though. I grew up with my seasons and everything, but it's just some
You
seasons
like
you put too much on this shit, it's like, ugh,
Are you more
I'm gagging.
Popeyes than Kentucky Fried or more Churches? I guess those are the three bigger ones, right?
Churches is dry. I don't like
Yeah.
Churches. Popeyes, I like their chicken sandwiches. Like those are some good chicken
Well, those
sandwiches.
things, the chicken sandwiches are those are big, man. People line up for those.
I know, right? They running into Popeyes with their cars and acting a fool, but I don't see them doing that at Chick-fil-A. I got a Chick-fil-A sandwich because my town finally got a Chick-fil-A,
Yeah.
and they were just like, "Oh, Chick-fil-A is finally in our town,"
That place is busy
Oh,
nonstop though. And they're
it
fast too.
is.
Like if they have a process now where they kind of get you through that drive through and out real quick.
Oh yeah, they do. I love
And the
that. I
sandwiches are
love
okay. I mean, I don't know.
I and when they and I went to Chick-fil-A just for a sweet tea. And I looked in the parking lot. This is a brand new parking lot, brand new
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A. 48 hours. They done already trashed the parking lot. I took a picture
Wow.
and I was like, and I put it on my Facebook for public for everybody. So I'm like, wow, Henderson, Texas, bravo right there. Y'all really trashed the shit out of your Chick-fil-A. I was like, I clown my hometown. I didn't care.
They're like nice God loving folks, Chick-fil-A, closed on Sundays. Real religious companies. They're like, man, y'all trashed the place.
I was like, y'all trash the parking lot? Like, you look at this, Henderson, like, shame on y'all. Shame on you for doing that. But
Gosh.
Chick-fil-A is just too dry. It's just a punk ass chicken cutlet on two crusty ass three pickles and a dry ass bun, and I was like, this is
Shout out
not.
Chick-fil-A.
It's not. No, Chick-fil-A is not the life. But I like Popeyes. I mean, the spicy and the original. But I was like, that's a thick ass chicken. I was like, that's a thick booty chicken on some pickles, and it has some sauce on there. I was like, now
Now,
this is a chicken sandwich.
now here's our problem. See, like I'm hungry. I'm thinking you might be too. That's why we're talking about food over here.
No, I actually ate some fried shrimp, and I had
Yeah,
sweet potato casserole and
brag.
a big piece of like broccoli.
Don't gloat about it. Yeah.
I'm sorry, but like that was my lunch. That was like my lunch right there. So I was like really like I'm chill. I got my toes done. I'm ready for my photo shoot. I got this gig tomorrow with this reception, this wedding. I
Oh
was like,
yeah, fun.
it's a little bit of me time, a little bit of
Yeah,
me time and stuff. So that's how I roll.
nice.
So I am going to close out the show, and thank you so much, Matt. Baby, this is like awesome. I love this, and you're an awesome guest. You're an awesome guest,
Oh,
and thank you
thanks.
for being a part of the show. And Matt, if you can tell my wonderful, brilliant horror audience where they can find you, your socials, all of that good jam.
Let's see. Social media, Instagram at Micheli World, last name World. Facebook, Matt Micheli World. Um, Email if you want to reach out. I'd love to connect. Matt Micheli World at gmail.com. You can go to my website, mattmicheli.com. Pretty easy. The newest one is 2 Minutes with the Devil. It's available on Amazon now for pre-order. Um, I will also be selling signed copies, and I'm kind of doing a thing. I want to really set these pre-orders to
Hmm.
blaze here. So if you get a pre-order on the Kindle, and then you want to get a signed copy from me personally, I'll knock the $2.99 off of the signed copy that I mail to you. So you kind of get both for the same price. So trying to drive some orders that way. But yeah, super excited about the book. Yeah, please feel free to connect. And Keisha, thank you for having me on. It's been fun. I don't feel like we were on a podcast. Just felt like two friends hanging out, and that's awesome. Um, I'm a little jealous of the piney woods. I'm going to get up there. Be surrounded by some tall trees eventually. Hill country down here. We got a few oaks and cedars and stuff, but it's a different feel for sure. But no, thank you so much for having me on, and I appreciate you reading and reviewing the books. And I'm glad you're a fan of Margot. You're on Team Margot. That's pretty awesome. So.
Well, I appreciate it. And like, give me a holler and everything when you come up to the piney wood, the iron pine curtain, as I call it.
Absolutely will.
The
Absolutely will.
iron, and you know what? I much shit I talk about it. It is a very beautiful place. Lots of lakes,
Mhm.
creeks, wildlife, beautiful, gorgeous pine trees. And I'm gonna say it like this, and just being realistic. Every time I look at these pine trees, even in this area, you always see the beauty in something different every day.
Absolutely.
You,
Absolutely. Yep. I mean, you can
and
find beauty. You can find beauty in anything, right? If you look hard enough. So,
Oh yeah, just like that Walmart plastic bag, like on American Beauty, just floating around.
yep. Absolutely. Yeah, that's a good one.
And I'm going to hit you up, on because I would like to have a physical copy and of course autograph as
Yeah,
it is.
absolutely.
'Cause I love having books and just the author just autographing,
And
the
I'm gonna
physical
be
copy.
doing a contest too, and I'm working the kinks out of it because I want to offer some signed copies and some really cool limited swag for the book. But the game, 2 Minutes with the Devil, the idea will be that people record a video of themselves playing the game. Obviously, you can use effects, you can do time lapse, whatever. But I'm going to be looking for the scariest or most creative videos and then there'll be some cool prizes. So watch for that.
Okay. Look at that. That's cool, cool. And let them know when the book is going to be out officially.
So pre-order started today, May 19th. Not sure when this is going to air, and then it will be fully available everywhere books are sold on June 2nd. So
That
to
will
look
be
forward to.
June 2nd when it officially comes out. Right
Yes.
there, 2 Minutes with the Devil. And also, everybody, do please check out all his socials. Also, go onto his website. And y'all, like, The White and Scratch are some wonderful, wonderful, like, novellas right there. You will not be disappointed. I don't care if they short or whatever. This man right here can really write his ass off and have very beautiful, realistic characters to like the plot and the storyline. And he has a lot of mystery with this. Uh, it's damn good reading. That's all I gotta say. But
Oh,
that is it for our time. Thank you so much, Matt. And I'm Keisha Lacey, your horror hostess, and this is the Random Horror Show.
awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.